Why study political philosophy today? To answer that question, we first need to appreciate its origins. It began 2,500 years ago. At the time, the very concept of knowledge was radical because it challenged the prevailing belief that gods governed the world. But a few thinkers had already challenged that belief by proposing theories about the universe. They disagreed about how best to understand it. Thales reduced it to water, Pythagoras to number, and Heraclitus to change. But they agreed that it could be understood by human minds. They thus gave birth to theoretical science. Socrates pushed the envelope further by asking, what about the world that we human beings experience? Not the cosmos, but the polis. Can we have knowledge of it? Socrates wondered if there is knowledge important to how we live together, good versus bad, just versus unjust. When he asked his fellow citizens that question, he heard many different answers. People often disagreed about good versus bad, just versus unjust. Yet, they did not disagree with each other entirely. They agreed to some extent on some matters, and even agreed perfectly on a few matters. To Socrates, their answers indicated the possibility of theoretical knowledge about not only physical matters, but moral and political matters too. Thus, Socrates took philosophy down from the heavens, as Cicero put it, and political science was born. Political philosophy is the oldest field of political science, but does that mean we should study it today? One could argue that the other 6 fields are much more relevant because they emerged in the 20th century. Yet, political philosophy has persisted over hundreds of years because of the timelessness of the questions it addresses. Certain questions transcend history because they are raised by the human condition. The pivotal one, how should we organize our collective lives, looms throughout the ages. The history of political philosophy not only generates fundamental questions, but also proposes to answer them. Answers to, for example, the relative importance of freedom and equality, conceptions of public and private virtue, the ethics of war and the management of conflict, and contributions of religions and traditions to the common good. It contains defenses and critiques, arguments pro and con. It teaches us ways to think about political matters. These ways of thinking constitute an essential part of the heritage of mankind. If we lose, forget, or deliberately abandon these models of inquiry, we will do an injustice to coming generations by robbing them of a profound intellectual resource, one vital to the search for and maintenance of the common good. In this day and age that rightly celebrates the mind-boggling achievements of science and technology, we should remember that those achievements were made possible by human beings who devoted their lives to reason and reflection about how we should live. Science and technology would not be possible without a science of human affairs.